The world of DeFi is getting more and more complex every day, with people taking out loans, participating in governance for DAOs, and more. But how do we trust the pseudonymous people we interact with every day? That's where Litentry comes in. Hi there, and welcome to the Parachain Auctions podcast hosted by Kraken. I'm Brian Hoffman, crypto platform product lead, and I'm glad you could join me out here on the cutting edge of crypto technologies. On this show, you'll hear from leaders and innovators around the world building parachains on Kusama and Polkadot. Tune in for insights from the best and brightest about their new projects. Whether this is the first time you've heard of parachains or you're a DeFi aficionado, come with us behind the scenes as we explore the technology of the future today. All right, today we have with us Hanwen Cheng, who's a founder of Litentry. He's here to chat with us today about their Polkadot project. Really excited to have you on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, it's very nice to be here.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot about the project. People have been just going crazy on Twitter and other places about this. I'd really love to learn a little bit about what Litentry is and your background, how you got started with this. So, what exactly is Litentry?
Yeah, so I'll give a very brief introduction about Litentry. It is a identity aggregation protocol. So, which means that it aggregates your identities from different network into one, and this aggregated identity is protected with our privacy preserving technology. So this is like a brand, some new stuff actually some new stuff in the industry.
Yeah, no, I think we had a really great conversation earlier in the year with Kilt around identity. And I think it's a
Yeah.
super important part of decentralized technology that I think people are overlooking. They're not thinking a lot about that. Everybody's more concerned with being anonymous, but I think there's a huge challenge and opportunity for someone who can help solve identity problems, especially around trust. So, but let's talk about you specifically, real quick. So, what's your background? Did you go to school for computer engineering or
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah. Actually, have the computer science which degree, but in Germany, which is called informatic, right? A degree.
Hmm.
I got this degree in University Stuttgart, and after the graduate, I worked for the as a software engineer. So with my this technical background, and in 2018, 19, I worked for Parity Technologies and as a software engineer. And at the same time, like I brew my idea about this Litentry project, about this identity, how to solve the identity problem at the same time. And in 2020, so last year, I quit Parity Technologies and start to found to devote full of all of my time into this project and start to grow the team.
Speaking of the team, how big is the team?
Currently, we have about 32 people. There are also, but they are distributed into different countries. For example, I think two-thirds of them are in Germany and in Europe, and some most of them in Germany. We have two offices in Berlin and Munich, and then we have our team member work in UK, in French, and also I think Portugal, Belgium, and in Europe. And then we also have a bunch of guys in China, and also we have one community leader in Vietnam. So it's really a distributed team, and we work remotely. Everything is talking in the in a asynchronized way. So yeah, about the but the foundation, the Leadership Foundation, is actually registered in Singapore.
Very cool. It seems like you've got lots of countries represented by your team, and
Mm,
and you worked for Parity, so I guess it makes a lot of sense why you guys are focused on Substrate and Polkadot. Um,
exactly.
have you done deep dives into other blockchains, or have you just mostly lived your blockchain life on Substrate?
Yeah. That's a very good question because I think I start to look into this industry from 2015. At that time, I checked about the repo, about Ethereum, and then in 2017, I think we with a group of my classmates, like some seniors together, we like this technology and start to learn about what the Ethereum is and think about how to improve the, for example, the to open a new channel for some channel technologies to scale the Ethereum and also have some, for example, to do some things on the Tendermint, for example, and we have to make a DAO-based web mobile application based on the Ethereum. At that time, it's a small startup, but like the project is just very tiny, and we run out of money at that time. And yeah,
Did you
we
use all
but
your money up on gas fees, or was it actually
yeah. This is because at that time the Bitcoin and Ethereum price is actually low. But we are not that we are the technical team to develop on it, but we are backed by some investors, but not investors. They say self-funded, right? And the guys just cannot fund the team, so we just stop it. And yeah, I guess yeah, gas fee is also very important thing. That's why also this is a very key point. That's why we come into Substrate, we come into the cross chain technologies like Cosmos and Polkadot. But finally we choose Polkadot because, for example, in the DAO, every time you vote, you join a channel, then you get a transaction. You send some message. You create like a voting pool. Like each of these actions, you create a transaction. On Ethereum, is impossible for us to afford these actions either. I mean, regardless of time or the cost. So that's why we switch to the because we are in Berlin, so Cosmos and Polkadot is very hot at that time. So we choose the different technology, and finally we choose the Substrate. We find the documentation of Substrate is very good and it's very flexible. There's lots of potential actually in Substrate. So that's why I join the Parity technologies, and then we finally brewed this Litentry project there.
So what were you working on at Parity?
I work for a Parity signer, so probably you also know that this is a air gapped mobile app to manage your keys.
So how exactly did you come to identify identity as a problem within this space?
Yeah, so the identity problem is like I think from the beginning I want to solve it because for example when I brought when first see the Ethereum and the blockchain technology, when I see the potential of it, then I uh, like not after a long time I find that it could solve some problem in my real life, which is in the browser, in the in the web world. Every time I brought some web page, some informations like uh, there will be some advertisement there. I find that there are some ones like getting use my data here, and they make money with my data and cost my attention on this data. They distract me from viewing what the thing is, and then they also ask get all the profit. I mean, take advantage of my attentions, even though they provided the services. I definitely understand, but the thing is that they do not give me any options, so I cannot choose to to ignore it or to see it, right? So every time the advertisement is there, so I think it's a time that we should use this technology to protect our data. So we should let myself to decide like whether should the others use this data. And this basically bring me to the decentralized identity field, like the DID field, because at that time, a lot of projects are doing similar stuff. For example, Uport from that time, I think There's also like some project, but I forget the name. But they are doing the related stuff. For example, to save your real data in some like Google Driver or some like local storage. But in the blockchain, they only store identifier there. Uh, but this project does not scale. But I think there's certain problem there. It's because um, it's create a new ecosystem. I mean, this ecosystem is kindly isolated with the blockchain industry or the real world. It's both isolated with these two different world because like the local data, how you like provide this local data to some other parts. At that time, the cryptographic or ZK technology is not mature, and also in the currently it's still like under the development. So I think the way to solve it, because I'm keep thinking the best solution, and finally in 2019 I think I come up with the idea of to aggregate it all the identity from the network, so that like we could get the better context of one identity, and this identity could be linked with the local storage, could be the DID projects. But finally, we will have one as a whole. It have lots of context to connect with all the different identity DID projects. So this is why I come up with the idea of this aggregated identity protocol, and then we start to working on that and find this is actually very promising and very interesting.
So if I could quickly kind of summarize it
Yeah,
back to you, and you tell me if I'm on the right path here. So essentially what's happening is
yeah,
you're kind of aggregating data from social networks or from, say Uniswap and other
yeah, yeah,
dApps, and you're kind of creating a way for people to get a context of like who this person is and kind of whatever their identity score is essentially. So like let's say you wanted to take out a loan and the dApp had to make a judgment call on you. Like typically it would just be collateral based, right? Like you just have to
yeah,
put up some collateral in order to get the loan, to secure the loan. But
yeah,
in this case, what you're saying is you guys provide almost like identity as a service where the dApp could ask you guys or your protocol, is this person trustworthy for whatever amount, and then get that score back and
yeah.
make that decision. Is that kind of what's happening here?
Yeah, this is actually a perfect understanding of the use case, right? But how we do it, probably I can explain more simply is that we save the relationship, or we save this graph of the different crypto wallets, and finally, like you could like they are all saved in some like TE devices with privacy protected. So every time, for example, in your use case, you ask our identity service, you ask how what's the credit score of this Uniswap account, right? This Ethereum account. Then he also calculate his other accounts like record in this wallet graph, and to check if the other crypto account behavior good in this, or have good like transaction history, or even have good performance in the Polkadot or Kusama of, or say Solana or different networks. So this the we as a leader as service give back a score, and this score is computed actually by the decentralized protocol. That means it's voted by the user. I mean, user could submit different uh, scoring algorithm, just like you create a new smart contract. So, and then finally we send back this score to the app, or say this uh, uh, long depth, and then
Hmm.
they start to calculate the collateral you will need with this score.
So how are the scoring algorithms determined? Is that voted on by the by governance?
Yes, yes. At the beginning, it will be a deterministic algorithm. So it will get a score definitely. But how the score is defined is just like you submit different smart contract, but this smart contract is voted by most of the community. So some people may choose, and so we will give this score a green like remark, and the dev could choose like okay, I will select this score with the highest vote, like with the green, or some the other algorithm with green mark. And but I mean the community finally can tell the app, and could submit, could vote for to replace this algorithm with others. Can report also, they can report the for example the mistake, some mistake in the algorithm as well.
So how so I guess I can see in my mind how it would work if you were to say try and determine if somebody is trustworthy on Uniswap. You get an ETH address, you can very
Mhm.
quickly look on the blockchain and see what's happened and kind of verify that. But like
Yeah.
if you're talking about creating maybe like a social score, like
Mhm.
let's say you want to look at Twitter or Instagram or something, like
Mhm.
how does the decentralized protocol interact with those centralized apps that are like external to the blockchain? How does
Yeah.
that work?
Uh, yeah, I forgot to mention it because currently we only focus on the decentralized applications. So we only focus on the crypto accounts, crypto, I mean, Web3 identities. But I mean, Web2 identity is definitely also possible to be integrated into the system, but there's certain problems. For example, like how do you verify this, like this Web2 account is belongs to you? I mean, there's certain Web2 technologies, but it's hard. It's still, for example, we could use the access token to do this. But there's like Web2 technology which could do some trick and to pretend they are the owner of it. So it's still very hard. And even though, for example, on Twitter you are green marked, right? You're some person, but still there's some chance that you are fake. You are a fake user. But on the cryptographic world, that you just need to sign something. This is
Hmm.
deterministic, and so that's why firstly we only focus on the decentralized world. No, Web3, like Web3 world. I mean, with blockchain projects.
So you're building a system that has to make decisions by knowing a lot about an identity, a person. How do you go about protecting that kind of information? I mean, you're essentially pulling it into somewhere and evaluating it, but like, how do you keep from exposing too much about someone in order to just make a score? Because if I'm a D app and I want to make a credit score decision, I don't need to know all the details, right? I just need to know the score from the Oracle. Like, is this person trustworthy?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
how does the Oracle protect all that information it's aggregating?
Yeah, the Oracle should protect that all this information could not be accessed or could not be interpreted by the other side, right? So what do we do is that we say we build a side chain, and this side chain, for example, we give the request of one account, right? And this request is actually encrypted, and this request is sending to the side chain, and side chain decrypted the request, and in the encrypted storage, it find the related identities, and it will send the request to different, I mean, data services. Let's say data providers, or we call it data analyzers, because these data analyzers will get the credit score of each identity. So finally, the score are aggregated in the T sidechain, and the sidechain will, for example, accumulate them and get the final score. And this score is again encrypted and sent back to the outside as in the substrate world as an event. So the outside world could subscribe this event, and only the user themselves could decrypt it and get the score. But the score is actually signed by the TE sidechain, so it could be provided to the other says, okay, this score is actually calculated by the Litentry protocol, right? So you can trust it. But how we try, how it is calculated, we do not know. It's in the TE sidechain. And speak of the TE sidechain, because you use TE devices, so even the validator who running this protocol, they cannot get access to like what the score is. And also we will have some mixture technologies, because on the communication from the TE sidechain to the outside world, because we want to make it hard for the others to capture all these HTTP requests from the TE sidechain to the other side.
How much of this is like happening kind of in real time? Like if I go to an app and I want to
Mm,
get a loan, and then I have to kind of
mm,
they have to use your service.
yeah.
Um, is it like I am signing something and then it goes to an Oracle and then the Oracle is like aggregating that data in real time, or like how does
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah, this is a very good question. The request is sending to the network, and the network actually is doing it with the off-chain worker, because it need just some off-chain. I mean, it's not real time. It's not happening in one block. Why is that? Is because the calculation process will involve some HTTP requests, right? It sends the request to some data analyzers, also decentralized analyzer. We have lots of data analyzers, and we also give the guidance on how to set up such a data analyzer. And yeah, there will be cost some because some requests will take about 2 seconds, some take 3 seconds. So it's a synchronized way. But finally, when the off-chain worker get all the data and they calculate it and then send back to the event. So it's not real time. I would say it's not real time, but it's also not so slow. Well, the reason why we use off-chain worker is we do not want the calculation process to block the consensus of the blockchain. So probably it take 2 or 3 blocks, but it won't take like too much time.
Okay, so it's like an asynchronous process that the DApp would have to submit the request to the Oracle, wait till it gets a response at some point, and then be able to adjudicate a loan
Yeah,
or whatever.
I would also add some context to it, because we also have the NFT palette here. So for example, we could create some NFTs for a certain credit computation process. For example, if I calculate like golden or diamond DeFi user, right? So I go to this score and get this I get this score, and this score could be actually recorded in the blockchain as an NFT, so everybody could see it. So it become very public. But the benefit of it is next time when you calculate this value, you could directly see the guy have this NFT. Then it's like instantly you get the answer that this guy is definitely, for example, get to have this DeFi score higher than 600, for example, like this. So you do not need to pay more like money or transaction fees for calculation. So this is also a good thing. But by this, you are public. But as a user, if I want to have this NFT, right, I actually public some of my information to the outside world, because everybody could check this NFT. Yeah.
So are you trying to tell me that NFTs can be used for things other than art?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. See, we learn something new every day. Um, yeah, so that's really interesting. So I've kind of like keep repeating this like loan use case, but like, what are some other like interesting things that Litentry could be used for?
Yeah, that's also a very good question. So at the beginning, actually, we are developing is a decentralized airdrop platform. So let me explain why we want to build this decentralized airdrop platform. Is that firstly, we want to have this protocol to be used. Is that we need to encourage a user to add some like to add the to create aggregated identity, right?
Hmm.
But how we do we incentivize them? Actually we create this airdrop platform. For example, you connect you link one of your Kusama account here, and then we will get some give you some do some automatic calculation, and then we find you that you are eligible for some of the airdrops because you have some good score, and then we will give you some airdrop. And this is vested in our substrate palette, so you could For example, so as if I am a user, I could have I could be encouraged to keep linking my different identities here, and then finally I get more and more airdrops. And for the new projects, they would like to come to this platform and see, okay, like you have lots of user, and you just like some maybe may interested some people like with different like with for example with my select calculate algorithm would be definitely interesting for our project. So I would rather like to give the airdrop to these users. So I will choose to do some airdrop here. So finally, we get the very good like positive feedback, and the we could have the bootstrap the our this aggregated identity aggregated protocol. So this is things we are doing, and of course, yes, we also have some future plans. Uh, I mean, DeFi with the identity is definitely useful. Uh, so this could be our middle term focus. And also we are ambitious. Like for example, in the long term, we also think this score or this reputation could be used in the on-chain governance. Could it be used actually in voting? For example, currently we all vote with the stake, with how much, for example, dot we own, even though we use the like how to say that, like uh, this is some new protocol based on the login of staking. But I'm thinking we actually need some reputation system, and to encouraging the users who may contribute to the project, but with very less tokens could get the higher voting power, could have their voice in the ecosystem. For example, in our project, we have lots of several community members who are very active in the community, who talk like answer the questions, talk actively. But we do not want to know how much lead tokens they own. But actually, we want to give them like some. Uh, we think they are very important for the community, because they always care about the people. They always give good advice to the suggestions to the project. So we would like to ask them to give them the high voting power. So I think in the long term, we would like to have this to use the reputation or use this score to vote in the on-chain governance process.
Yeah, I think you make some interesting arguments there around how you incentivize and create kind of governance around your protocol. I mean, I know that we kind of started with Bitcoin, which is like this like one person one vote thing,
Yeah,
with miners, but that really has been difficult and really just become an arms race for power. And
mm,
then proof of stake, there's just so many whales, and people argue that, well, it's a financial system, so there should be financial stakes,
mm,
and that's what people with the bigger financial interest should be the ones that determine what's going on. But I think that there's probably still a third option that you're describing, which
yeah,
is, there are valuable people within your community that aren't whales. They're not hedge funds or investment firms with like massive bags of lit, right? They're just
yeah,
people that contribute a lot.
yeah,
And how do you allow them to exert their impact on a project? So I think that
exactly.
it's really interesting. And right now it just doesn't seem like it's very possible, but what you guys are building could lead to that potential opportunity. So I think it's really, really interesting. So I I really love this conversation, but I want to talk a little bit about Parachain, the Parachain auction, since this is the Parachain auctions
Yeah,
podcast, and I
yeah,
always almost forget to talk about the auctions themselves because the projects are really interesting. But
yeah.
let's talk a little bit about the Parachain auctions. So there's been Kusama and Polkadot.
Mm.
Like, what has your experience through this whole thing been? Like, how did you guys decide how you were going to bid on a slot? Like what was your plan from the beginning?
Yeah, glad you raised this topic, because this is also what we like discuss every day and talking about at this moment, right? So speak about the parachain auction, like why we want to join this game is because we want to directly launch our mainnet on the substrate, and I'm not on the substrate, not into a relay chain, either Polkadot or Kusama. This is because we want to get firstly, we want to get the share security from like higher market cap blockchain, so that to ensure our security. And the second thing is that we want to experiment and to enjoy this cross-chain ecosystem. Because basically, if you think about Litentry, it's basically a cross-chain identity protocol, right? It connect the different blockchains. So once we are in this cross-chain ecosystem, we could easily to use the cross-chain messenger to messaging to bridge to set up this to easily set up this wallet graph. But without this cross-chain cross-chain messaging protocol, we still are possible to do it, but but it will cost us more efforts to do it. So and also the cross-chain messaging is still in its early stage. We do not know. We actually do not know like how much potential it will bring us to us, and probably there's some will be some amazing collaborations on the on the different blockchains. For example, first the user send a query to Litentry, and this the result sent back to Akala, and then Akala give a loan to the user, and through some privacy protected protocol, right? So the composition really makes some really will makes the things interesting, and also Litentry is like rare is the one of few identity related protocol. I think it will definitely bring the value to the ecosystem. Also, will benefit from the other partners projects. So that's why we want we raise like we initially want our project to be launched here in our relation. And also speak of the Kusama and Polkadot, right? People may asking why you choose the Polkadot over Kusama, why you make the decision. So actually, we think a lot on this topic, and the reason is we actually we prepare when we ready when we are ready for the Parachain auction. We already in the second batch of the Kusama Parachain auction, and the Polkadot Parachain auction is quite near, and we want to have focus in one place. And at the beginning, the idea the initial idea of our team is that we want to use this identity protocol to serve for the DeFi protocol, the on-chain governance, or the with higher, I mean, with higher value there. So it's naturally we will think this is could provide very robust and solid services for this protocol. So that's why we prefer to choose Polkadot. And at the time we need to make the decision, both Kusama and Polkadot become the option for us. But we think it's better for us to focus on one, so we will not get distracted, because maintaining two different blockchain will cost a lot of like energy. And also why you, for example, I'm keeping ask me like why we will have two different tokens on two different network if have the same feature. So right, a Kusama test, I mean, canary network definitely have its experimental features, but currently we are not ready to have it. So I think the time just not mature, and we want to get focused. So that's why we choose Polkadot. But we do not say like we will ignore the Kusama relay chain forever. Once we have lots of experimental features to be onboarded, we will definitely start to think about the Kusama parachain. The underlying idea is that we want this parachain to be functional, and it must have some interesting features there.
Yeah, I was actually thinking initially that a lot of projects would feel the same way, that Kusama would be kind of an afterthought. Um, but it seems like a lot of projects have taken it very seriously, and like they're trying to do both, or they got two tokens going on. And it does seem like a lot of work, because it's not just launching the parachain. It's, you got to market the auction, you got to like prepare for that, you got to do all that, and then you got to turn around and do it right away again, which
Yeah,
is really
exactly.
challenging, I think. I'm sure
Exactly.
it is. I mean, I can't speak for you guys, so maybe it's really easy for you, but it seems difficult to me. to
Well,
maintain
for
focus. Yeah.
for sure, for sure. The token economy is using like lots of value, lots of money there. Then you have to like spend energy on it.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned a couple different teams. You mentioned Akala. Um, so what are some of the partnerships or kind of collaborations that you currently are doing? I know that you guys had some kind of team up with Bifrost and Parallel
Yeah, yeah.
recently. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So actually, in the partnership with a Bifrost and Parallel is mostly about the Parachain auction, right?
Hmm.
The Parachain crawl loan, because they provide a new channel to vote for us, and also the supporters could get liquidity from the if they vote us support us from their protocol. Because for example, there will be some V dot VS dot on Bifrost, for example, so people can still trade it, even though they stick is the dot for us. So I think this is a brand new. This is very good. That's a very good idea behind it. But at the same time, we also have the partnership with the other Polkadot ecosystem projects. For example, I mentioned NFT, right? So we also developed this our NFT together with MIK Remark
Hmm.
product, right? And there's I speak about the data analyzer, right? So we also analyzed the DeFi related data on Akala and also Moonbeam, right? And this data analyzer need to fetch the substrate related data. So we also collaborate with subquery to get this data. So this is just I think I need to think more about the previous or the happening collaborations, but you can get at the glance that we have actually have the collaboration in different aspects. For example, in the crowd loan, in the DeFi protocol, in the NFT protocol, and also in the on the data aspect. So this also means that our protocol is not easily could easily be built as a dApp, but it's related. It's actually related to different infrastructures. So we before this credit computation network is mature, we actually need to build different like components there.
Hmm. And as far as your protocol being used, it seems like I noticed on your website you said you have a couple integrations with my crypto profile, Web3 Go.
Yeah.
I know there's a grant project, Polka Sign In. Like how is Litentry being used in those applications?
Probably like we can uh, ask the question like how this project will use literature protocol, right?
Hmm.
It's because
Yeah.
actually why we have these different projects applicate or let's say dApps is because we want these dApps to use to actually utilize or leverage the functionality of legendary protocol. For example, my crypto profile. With my crypto profile, actually, we built a new uh, like aggregated profile, but this profile is public, right? It also connected to the Web two. It's also connected to the Web two identities. So this is probably what we discussed before, right? This is something not with the privacy protected identities. But user, for example, if a user decide to public his wallet graph or part of his wallet graph, this wallet graph could be integrated into my crypto profile. And here, these are all public information here. And people could have some integration, could do some social interaction here, could further interact with, could further be join this, create a social fi network, right? So this is my crypto profile. And the other, if they all have some use cases with our underlying technology. For example, Web3 Go, it will set up this data analyzer network, and which will empower our calculation. And also Drop3, we have also Drop3 platform is actually the airdrop platform I mentioned, and this is still in development. I think we will see the beta version soon. And the also there's Polkadot name systems. This is another incubator project which is building a naming system which is very similar to the Ethereum name services, but it's have a brand new way to record the to index the name, actually the name and also the addresses. Is deployed on different parachains, but on Litentry there will be a main entry here. So it's kind of like Remark or ZenLink. It's kind of deployed on different parachains. And with the Polka sign we mentioned before is actually enable one account to log into to interact with different networks. It's also like could is one of the identity infrastructures we built for the Litentry protocol.
Mm. What has been the biggest challenge building on Polkadot?
Yeah, I think um, building on Polkadots is really it's a good it is a good experience because there's lots of information materials, documentation, and there's a lot. It's very flexible, and we customizable, and it's very interesting. It's but just the problem that I would say that we need to keep track with the faster development of the substrate of the framework of the and keep eyeing on the governance process. I think all the team may also have the similar problem, right? So I guess you must ask these similar questions to different teams. I think they will get the same issue. But yeah, apart from that, to me, I think that's another problem that how to build a solid team, right? Because for example, to track this issue, to eyeing the governance, that we definitely need people to do that. If we already have a big team, then this won't be a problem for us. So specifically, I think for Litentry, that the challenging part is that how we build a team, get good developments here, and also to have the good chemicals in the team, so everybody is motivated. And because I believe this identity protocol will be a long-term project, and we really need to spend a lot of time in development. And I believe in the future there will be for example the on-chain governance issue,
Mhm.
the credit in the crypto world. This issue will be gradually raised in the industry, and I think the identity is the best solution for this problem. So we really aim in the long term, and for this long term, we really need a, a, a good team to for doing all the preparation work and also the development.
Yeah, I think it's obviously become very important, and uh, it's a very large industry, the DeFi industry at this point. And I think being able to have identity and trust scores and oracles is really, really important for DeFi to take off. But we're also seeing a massive push into like metaverse and kind of like, with NFTs and all this going on. And recently, Facebook or Meta has now gotten into the game. They're all in on the metaverse. But in the Web 2.0 world, they've been really important for identity, authentication, authorization of access to different apps, like onboarding people. Like, how do you think that's going to affect decentralized applications? I mean, do you think that they're going to be, are they going to be helpful to this industry, or do you think players like you and Kilt and others who are actually trying to create decentralized protocols to support this are going to be more successful in the end? Who do you think is going to win that battle?
Yeah, like I'm not sure if you have read the Messer's report. It says Meta is not a metaverse. Yeah,
Yeah, it's missing the verse.
yeah. But to me, I think they actually make a good impact to the industry. They bring focus, that bring the attentions here. They like attract the people to the metaverse. Like everywhere, almost everywhere in the conference, I hear people talking about the conference. Today, I go to a fashion conference and people talk about the metaverse. I think this is quite good. Uh, but in the end, I think it's the people's trust really matters. So could the people trust the big internet giant that they could build a decentralized protocol, or the people trust the decentralized or the crypto native project like Litentry to build a good identity related system? Like it's because we believe the community is a basement of the success of a Web3 project. So if only the community could use it and believe it, then this project could be grow. So I think eventually the we will not be limited by the DID, for example, defined by Web3 standard by W3C. All right,
Mhm.
will not be limited by the account system in the Web2 world. We will have some new system here, and this system will not will give some breakthroughs. Will also help the DeFi and metaverse to grow. So my answer is I believe that Litentry or the related crypto native project will be the eventually give them more like tribute to the Web3.
All right. Well, I always like to end on a note where Facebook is, we're finding alternatives to Facebook or some of the big giants. So I
Yeah.
think we're going to have to leave it there. But I'd really love to help our listeners know where can they go to learn more about Litentry and everything awesome that you guys are doing.
Yeah, of course, literature.com is all right. Our website is a good place. Also, link if you go to Linktree, then Linktree select .ee/literature, you can get all the informations, all the related links here. Also, the hot topic about crowd loans information are here, and you can check our Medium. On the Medium, there's lots of informations, but because the Literature's name is special, so you just go to Google and search for literature, and you will get a bunch of information. There's no duplicate duplication projects here. That's
That's
also good.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got a good SEO choice for sure on the name.
Yeah,
Easy to
yeah,
find.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
everything else it's like block or chain something, it's like can't find
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So you just got to Google lit entry, okay, folks? Um, well, thank you so much for your time today. It was really great talking to
Thank you,
you, learn
Brian.
about everything, and really appreciate you stopping by. So thanks again to our guest Hanwen from Lit Entry,
Yeah.
and good luck with the auction and to everything in the future.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to explain like so much in detail about our project, and I really liked the conversation because we talked so much about the metaverse, about everything in the crypto world, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks again to our guest Hanwen from Lit Entry. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review us on your favorite podcast platform, and we will be sure to bring you along as we get a backstage pass to the world of Parachain auctions. This content is not financial or investment advice. All interviews and discussions are opinions only. Kraken does not endorse the accuracy of this content. None of the following information should be construed as a recommendation to support any specific Parachain project or to participate in Parachain auctions in general. See our terms of service for more information.